Hi everyone, Aaron Mortimer from Marine and Marine Insurance. Today we're really pleased to have Dean Kennedy. Dean is from Marine Survey New Zealand. Over the last 20 odd years I've read quite a lot of Dean's surveys as well as a whole lot of other surveyors' reports. We thought it'd be a great idea to get Dean along today to talk about what he does, how he does it, and from our point of view, from a boat insurer's point of view, why we like to have a decent survey. Rightio Dean, thanks for coming along, good
Pleasure.
to see you.
Thank you.
Let's kick off by maybe handing the floor over to you. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your background and how you ended up becoming a marine surveyor.
Sure. I guess when I left school, always interested in sailing and did the youth scheme at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron over here, and then got a boat building apprenticeship with Grant Mitchell Boat Builders out in Te Aratu.
Yep.
After that, ended up on the super yachts.
Cool.
In the Mediterranean for about 5 years, and then followed my passion really for yachting.
Yeah, nice.
And ended up racing yachts for a living, building boats in between, sort of in England and around the other traps in the Mediterranean. So came home to New Zealand, I think in 2007, with a young family, and was looking for a new challenge, but in the marine industry. So ended up doing a marine surveying course and doing some understudy with a lot of the older boys that were surveying in Auckland here at the time. And that was, I started off on my own about 9 years ago. Good,
so onward and upward and from strength to strength.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty lucky. It was straight into it.
Good on you.
And doing the understudy with the older surveyors certainly helped. You know, they passed on a lot of work. So it didn't take long to get established.
Yeah, right.
So now, you know, I've been doing it for, like I say, over 9 years. It's certainly a good business.
And do you survey all around? Because you do a lot of boats in Auckland, but you don't live in Auckland. So how far afield sort of do you travel?
Last week I was in Brisbane.
Right.
Survey, you know, in the Pacific Islands.
Cool.
Nelson, Picton, that sort of area.
Okay, cool.
Wellington.
All around.
All around New Zealand, and travel sort of globally when needed.
And it might be a good idea to point out now, when we're talking about survey, we're not talking about, you know, commercial boats in the context of this video. You know, Marine is a specialist pleasure craft insurer. People have got, you know, hear the idea survey bandied around and they think, oh, it's, you know, a commercial survey. The whole commercial scene has changed, and we're not going to go into that. When we're talking about a survey here in the context of this video, or even a pleasure craft insurance policy, we're really talking about an experienced professional like somebody like Dean to give us a pretty comprehensive understanding of the boat that we're getting into. You know, there's certain things that we like to know about, and there's certain things that, you know, the owners like to know about. Not everyone's an expert, and the idea of an independent surveyor means that they're putting what they see down on paper, and then it's really for everyone else to judge, you know, how they want to read it and how they want to, you know, apply it to that situation. Whether the potential purchaser wants to keep on going with the purchase, or even if an insurer wants to look at it and go, oh, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? Would that say that's a reasonable Dean?
Yeah, totally. So we do stay away from the commercial side of things. We leave that to a Maritime New Zealand sort of registered surveyor.
Yeah, cool.
So the pleasure craft market is where this business gets its work from. Pre-purchase, condition surveys. That's for owners that want to know what the state of their boat is. Then the insurance surveys for companies like yourselves. We sort of delve into valuations. And the like. So anything with the private market,
Rightio, Dean. So let's say you've been appointed to a survey, and either it's somebody with their existing boat, or maybe it's a potential purchaser of the boat. When you're turning up to survey or inspect a boat, how do you want the boat to be presented, or what do you want to see when you get there?
So I guess first and foremost, the boat should be clean and tidy, clutter-free. You know, it doesn't take much to go through. Wipe the bilges clean. And that's a good start to learn your boat at the same time before the surveyor gets there. You know, I'll test that bilge pump float switch or shivers. There's some corrosion there, but really, I mean, I've seen it all. You know, I've been climbing around with rats and rodents and and the droppings and the wee, and there's all sorts of leaking toilets and stuff like that. So, you know, a surveyor shouldn't have to go through that.
No,
so,
exactly,
yeah, as long as it's clean and tidy, presentable,
yeah.
As someone's walking into your home, you know.
Right,
first impressions last, and especially for a surveyor.
Yeah, absolutely.
First thing I'm doing is looking at a boat, I'm walking through a boat, I'm using my senses.
Yep.
Do I smell mould?
Yeah.
Do I see mould?
Yeah.
Do I smell black water?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
so we always do a walkthrough first.
Yeah.
Other things like cupboards and lockers, you know, people leave all sorts of stuff in
food
there.
and all sorts of stuff.
Definitely.
No.
So yeah, as long as a surveyor's got easy access,
Yeah.
it makes his or her job so much better, so much quicker, and
right.
a nice clean environment's good for everyone,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So then on that basis, I mean, there must have been some really wild and wacky stuff that you found when you've jumped on somebody's boat.
Yeah, I don't know how far I can go into it on camera, but yeah, we've certainly seen stuff that makes the mind boggle.
Like
Porn
what?
collections, sex toys, gun collections.
Oh no.
Bank statements from very, very wealthy people that obviously would like you to see how much money they've got. Toilets that aren't flushed.
Oh no.
Used condoms.
Oh god. Oh jeez.
Underwear that's soiled.
Oh no. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I think we've probably
you
heard
get the picture.
Yeah,
I've seen it all. So that's why I say, you know,
Yeah.
mate, a surveyor is going to go through your boat.
Yeah.
We're going to open drawers because we want to see what's behind there. If you're leaving stuff that's there on display, then you know I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
We are very discreet. I would never tell anyone, but here I am,
Yeah.
not naming names.
But
Yeah, just make sure there's nothing there that's going to embarrass you.
Or you.
Or is illegal.
Or is illegal. That's a good
Illegal,
point.
totally.
Yeah, I get to like drugs and stuff like that. I mean, you don't want to turn up at somebody's stash. I mean, what do you?
Well, I've seen it all.
Right.
But you know that stays with me on the survey. But you know it makes for good television, I suppose.
Right, Dean, so after you've had a walk through and hopefully haven't discovered anything too untoward, how does the rest of the process unfold? What do you do from there, and what sort of tools do you use?
Right, good question. So basically, the scope of survey, we go from bow to stern, from top down to the bottom. So we're looking at structure mainly. That's the big thing. Making sure all your bulkheads and your scantlings, or your longitudinals and your stringers and frames. Depends if it's wooden or fiberglass. Steel, aluminium. We won't do concrete.
Right.
Making sure that's all kosher. So along the way, we're looking at your skin, well, your ball valves, your seacocks, your plumbing systems, your black water systems. The only thing really on the inside of a boat we don't look at is the engineering side of things. So you'd need to get a specialist diesel mechanic or petrol.
That's fair enough.
And I do recommend an electrical survey as well, depending on the size of the boat and your budget. But up on deck, I mean, it's everything really. It's your fixtures and your fittings, your cleats. We percussion tap test all the surfaces.
So that's just tapping it with a selection of all hammers, is that right?
Yeah, we've got a selection of hammers, and we're listening for delamination in fiberglass boats. Rot in timber boats.
And have you got like an awl or something?
Yep, so on timber boats, especially in the bilges, we've got timber spikes that we can sort of have a little poke around. A knife is another good tool. Timber boats vary a lot from fiberglass boats. So,
tools for horses for courses. Sort of
totally. We've got moisture meters that we can use on both substrates. So fiberglass and timber.
Well, I've read your reports for donkey's years, and until recently, it's only recently I've actually met you, and I actually recognise your hands more than your face, because on the reports you've got the hand holding the moisture meter.
Yeah, totally.
So how does that work? I mean, obviously atmospheric conditions have a big impact on. So do you provide a bit of a commentary that in terms of the boat was the morning there was dew on the boat and it was a bit wet? How does that sort of affect your readings?
Yep. So moisture meters they're an impedance meter, so they do pick up salt on the boat. So they don't like to read carbon fibre. Right. And big hunks of metal inside a boat, like your engine block, for example, can tend to fluctuate the readings a little bit. Things like wet or sodden soundproofing or insulation in the engine rooms can make them kick off. But generally speaking, it doesn't matter, like water tanks and things. It'll work that out for itself.
Cool. Okay.
Very, very accurate
right.
piece of equipment. They don't tend to lie. So when we're getting things like altered soundings, and then you're getting a high moisture reading as well, then it normally means we've got a bit of an issue. So it depends also on what the boat's, if it's a fiberglass boat, for example, if it's cored with balsa.
So it could be sided, the core could be sided, and it's never going to dry out until it's cut off, pulled out, new core put on.
Exactly. So we need, normally, you know, I know what most production boats are cored with, including the New Zealand ones, whether it be closed cell foam, plywood.
Is it cleat cell? Is cleat cell?
Cell, Divinicell, they're all a closed cell foam. So what that means is water really shouldn't be able to track its way anywhere through the foam, but it does to a certain degree. But balsa's the one that we're really looking hard at when we're getting high moisture content.
So I guess the reason, I guess, from what I understand, is why somebody would build a boat with balsa. It's light and it's strong for what it is, and it provides the core for the inner and the outer laminates, but it loses its integrity once it's wet, and it turns to wheat bix sort of thing. Is that right?
Exactly right. It breaks down rapidly. The new way of building boats, you know, with the new boat building techniques, they've sort of eliminated the bulk of that. So where we're looking really is around deck fittings. You know, anywhere where a screw's gone through or a fastener, anywhere water can sort of can work its way in.
Because if you're not sealing, if you've got like the typical sort of Kiwi 20-30-year-old yacht, or maybe 15-20 years old, and it was balsa cored, probably a few owners have been through, whipped out winches, put new winches in, there'll be new jammers, there'll be all sorts of things. So unless that's been done correctly, there could actually be a bit of moisture that's actually sealed in there, that's got nowhere else to go but just gradually
and just works its magic, the moisture. You know, with the new stuff that's resin infused, we don't find a lot of very, very high moisture content in panels that aren't compromised with screws and things, but the older stuff that was maybe vacuum bagged or you know, just laid fiberglass over top, you know, I won't name any brands of boats, but we sort of know exactly what we're going to find. If the moisture meter's saying it's high, then there's no doubt there's moisture in there.
Fair enough. No, that's cool. Excellent, that's great.